it's impossible, because it's illogical. You call and I got to go with you. It's so paradoxical, it seems irresponsible. Just call and I got to go with you.
Hey everybody, my name is Carter Hall, and I am so excited for this podcast. With me today, I have Derek Urias with me. He has done so many things in the great Amarillo community. You can catch him seeking a musical note here or there, and being creative, and you can catch him on his new podcast. Derek, man, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course, man. Well, thanks for having me on here. I know, like I said, we've been trying to do this for a while, so it's good to be on here. I love what you're doing, so I'm excited for this.
Okay, well, thank you, man. Like you said, we've been kind of doing this. We've been talking like back and forth for a minute. So I mean, the fact that we finally made some time, I'm like, man, I'm super stoked about it. So, you're a fellow podcaster, so I mean, you know how it goes. Trying to book your own show, produce it, host it, do all the fun stuff. So, yeah, you know how it goes. It gets kind of tricky sometimes.
Absolutely, man. I totally understand.
Yeah, man. Some people I think they see the podcast, but don't. If they were to reveal the curtain a little bit, they'll be kind of surprised a little bit, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I guess mentioned before so kind of everybody has a chapter one, as I like to say. Maybe they started from certain situations, whatever may have left off, I mentioned you have a podcast. We'll get to that here in a second, but, because everybody has a chapter one where in their book, so to speak. And man, you're such a motivational person. Like you feel like whatever you do, you set your sights on, you go out and do it. At least what I'm from the outside perspective looking in, that's what I think. But for you have a musical background. Like, how'd that start?
Yeah, man. Well, so when I was 12 years old, my family was going to Victory Church at the time. It's called His Church now. And we were going there, and they started a hip hop ministry.
Oh, really?
I was 12 years old. And they were just putting Christian rappers, like a Christian rap group together. Super shy. Go up to my dad and I tell him, "Hey, Dad, I want to join that group." And the look that he gave me was funny, because he's like, "Well, you're so shy, you're so quiet. Like this isn't. Are you sure about it?" But he let me go with it, and as I progressed with it, it was my way of kind of coming out of my shell, writing those songs. As soon as we hit the stage, it was just a different person. So he started to learn that was my way of expressing my emotions, right? Like I got to just anything I was feeling, and of course tying it in with God. It was just a good feeling. So that's where it really started. And I learned a lot at such a young age to write a song and it reach out to people, touch people's hearts. That's where that started, and that passion's really never left, man. And so of course you'll catch me singing here and there. I'm just having fun with it. That passion's never going to go away for sure.
That's so cool, man, to hear that. I mean, you said you're putting God first and doing all that stuff along with what you're doing, which is always amazing to hear. You said something like kind of like that I didn't know about. So you do your own music, or you write your own music? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yes. So whenever I was a part of that group, it was called Team Glory, and we would do concerts at the church, go perform it at the churches. But the songs that we wrote, we wrote our own lyrics. And so we would usually meet every Thursday, Tuesday, every week, and play a beat and help each other write. We had the older guys that were our mentors that helped start the group. But it was, to me, it just came easy. It was like writing, a poem. It was poetry. So like I said, that writing started at such a young age. And so as I got older, I transitioned from rapping to singing, kind of just self-taught, and that was another way to reach out to more people. So I stepped away. Our group split up when I was, 16 years old. Was very kind of sad about it, but continued with it and continued writing music. So I would play a beat or an instrumental and just write to it. And there's a lot of unreleased songs that I have just kind of sitting there that I listen. They're just in the chamber, man. Then I'll listen to them, and it really helps me see how far I've come as an artist as well. So the writing was fun for me. It still is. I still write till this day, and hopefully, man, hopefully I come up with something that I'm like, this needs to be heard. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Do you plan on releasing those anytime soon, just for fun, like a song here and there or anything like that?
I've been, yeah, I've been thinking about it, man. I've had some friends that are like, dude, just come on, you know. But for me, I'm you know, we are our own like worst critics, right? I'm like, yeah, this isn't good. I don't think this is anyone's gonna like it, but it might be something that everyone really vibes with. But um, that's what I'm working on. I'm thinking maybe if I get some of these songs and I think, hey, this could be a little project, just drop it and not even let anyone know, you know. So we'll see.
Heck yeah. We said something about being your own biggest critic. When it comes to this podcast, I can't sing. I sing in my car and I sing in the shower, but other than that, I can't, like, forget it. I can't carry a tune this. But like being your own biggest critic, that's a big thing too. Like, is that something that you overcame with time, like as far as music? Because for me in podcasting, I always say, like, I've had questions. I've been doing this since 2021, I believe, so 3 almost 4 years. And
Mhm.
man, I just was like, that first episode, it's always, I felt like the first episode always going to be your first, or I think your worst episode, I think, because I feel
Yeah,
like
most
you don't know what to do. You're like, oh, what do I, it just, I didn't know, especially me. Like, oh man, this is going to be so awful, but you need to go through that awkward phase initially, if that makes sense. And then you're like,
Oh yeah,
you find who you are along the way, if that makes sense. Or
absolutely.
for you, was that something that you went along with too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, being your worst critic though, and it can be a bad thing, but it can be a good thing. I mean, and that's just not only with music, but with just anything that I do, of all the things that I do and the things that you do. I mean, being your worst critic, it can get in the way of a lot, but it also can be a different mindset if you look at it a little differently. It's good to be your own critic, right? Like your worst critic sometime, because we want to be better, right? And that's what, when I'd make a song, I would I'd be like, that was good, but, and I used to tell people, you will never hear my best song because the next song is going to be better than the last one. And I treat everything I do. You're never going to see my best episode on a podcast. You're never going to see, anything I do. That's not the best. That's not the best I can do, because you're always wanting to be better. So being your self critic, your worst critic, yes, it can get in the way of a lot, which it has, and it did with music. But you get to a point where it's a passion, it's something you love to do, and you expect a lot from yourself, so you want to be better. And so that's just the way I look at that.
Yeah, man, because like it's like a vicious circle in a way. It's like you make a good point, and like you're only as good as your next one, right? So
Yeah.
you never. For me, it's like, oh man, I could have done this better. When I'm editing videos or editing podcasts, whatever, I'm like, I could have done this here. I could have done blah 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 here. It's like, yeah, but also look at the other hand too. It's like a double-sided coin. Man, I did something here, but also I could have done this better. But like you said, you're always as good as your next one. And I think for me, I can't speak obviously for you, but for me personally, I'm like always like, I'm always chasing that dragon, so to speak, if you will. It's like that's what I feel motivated for. It's like, if that makes sense, like, oh, that next one I want to be the best one, and that next one I want to be it's like you're always like that. You have a goal in mind, like, I want to be the best storyteller in podcasting. I want to do blah 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 blah. You're always as good as your next one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It keeps you going. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, because if you get satisfied, and I always like to say this, the day you get satisfied, the moment you get comfortable, you're in trouble, right? I mean, I'm never satisfied, and that may sound bad, but I'm not. I mean, because it's what can I do better, right? Like let's see what can we do better. Like let's keep moving, let's keep going, and that's the beauty of it with the podcast and with music. It's it keeps you going. I mean, it really does, because if I would have got satisfied a long time ago, I mean, then what, right? Like it's just, there's no room for growth there.
For sure, most definitely. There's always, like you said, you're never satisfied. That's the thing. It's like for me too. It's like, man, the hunger is like deep in there. It's like, man, I gotta be satisfied. Gotta find that. It's all about that feeling, man. It's like that. It's a good kind of high, that dopamine kind of good high, if that makes sense. Like once you're chasing, you're like, oh, this feels good, but you're always on to the next one, and if that makes sense at all,
No, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. For you, for when it comes to music, when it came to music or comes to music, did you have someone like an inspiration as far as like in that world, in that musical world, like initially, or do you still have one now that came?
I would say, and it was really, I mean, when I started, I just wanted to try it out, right? Like just do it. But as I got into it, and then the older I got, I became a really big fan, and I still am of J. Cole, just because of his style, the storytelling, right? And any song you listen to, really of mine, even the older ones, I'm always telling a story, right? Like I'm not that musician that's talking about the money and the chains and all of this and whatever it is. Even at a young age, I was like, let me tell a story. Like, how can I inspire you through this music, right? Even telling a story about myself, that was my way of expressing feelings. So I think J. Cole is really someone I really looked up to, and I still look up to till this day, because there's some days where I kind of want to get back into the rap a little bit, kind of mess around with it, and I catch myself listening to like his type beats and his instrumentals, and you kind of catch that flow. So for me, it's definitely been him, just because that style.
Yeah, J. Cole's, I think he's been in the game for a hot minute too. I mean, always been,
Absolutely.
yeah, he's a true inspiration because I think, he's like I said, he's one of the best storytellers. I feel like I think you can go back to any album from Born Center to blah blah blah, like to 2014 Forest Hill Drive to KOD, any album you name, like there's always going to be
Oh yeah, that
there's a storytelling
jamming
in.
him out. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get J. Cole jamming out, and just to see the way he just progressed as an artist as well was awesome. So that was the inspiration there, right? Like again, I mean, there's so many artists that I look up to, but him most definitely. I mean, that's no brainer. It's J. Cole for sure.
it's all like you said. You hit on a good point too. It's like not so much the like you said the money and the chains and blah blah blah. Blah. It's like what you're putting, like what you put out, what you put in. It's like it's all about. Like I always say in the podcast, like we're all on a marathon, right? It's like all like forget the materialistic things, man. It's like what can we do that's going to last, like years after we're done, after like we're gone, like man, it's just much more than just chains and materialistic things.
No, absolutely. Like whenever I, make music, it's, yes, I want it to take off, right? Like you want it, it's cool when people are listening to your stuff, but you think about, like you just said, what is this kind of message is this going to leave? What is it going to do for people, right? Like, cause I want people to listen to my music and say like, wow, like that really inspired me. Like that really, really hit home. And so I took that thought process from music to everything else that I ventured out into, right? Like everything you do, you want to make an impact, right?
Yeah.
Has to be your intention. You want to impact somebody. Like with what you do with your podcast, I definitely admire it. Got to throw that out there, man. I've seen your episodes, for doing it for 4 years, man, to keep that consistency, the people that you've brought on here, it's awesome. I mean, so you're making an impact, and you've been doing it for such a long time, man. And I'm sure you're going to do it for many more years. So I just had to throw that out there, man. Props to you. And I definitely admire what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, you've been doing it too. We could do this whole thing, but like, I mean, you've been like you bring so much inspiration to you too. What you do, like you just like I said, outside looking in, just like man, like this guy's like resonates like motivation and like man, this guy's like Derek is always like he's whatever he touches, like he's like turns to gold because like you truly do what you love and you love what you do because like it really
Absolutely.
man. And so it's really cool. I think so to get motivation from someone, someone or something, you never know where it's going to come from. So at the end of the day, so man, you've been killing it too, man. So thank you for that too. Thank you for saying all that.
Of course, brother. Of course, man. Well, I definitely appreciate it. And again, just thank you for, for bringing me on here and um, just telling my story. I mean, it's whenever you came to me, I was like, wow, like now I'm going to be on the other side, right? Like I'm used to interviewing people and inspiring people. And, but like you said, in anything I do, man, very motivational. And that's something that started even in high school. Started making motivational videos. Um, I just started posting things on Facebook, and I was really big on depression, right? Like I would make videos in high school. I'm this young kid, and I'm speaking out on something that I never had went through, right? Until I got older. So I was like, telling people, and I still, mental health and depression is something that it's just near and dear to my heart, right? Like, so, and anything I do when I have a conversation with people, I'd make those videos, and one of them went viral, and I was just talking about that topic, right? So at a young age, I've always just had the niche and that heart for wanting to make an impact in somebody. If I can make you smile or make your day better just by a simple conversation, telling somebody, hey, you're awesome, you're amazing, like keep doing what you're doing, I'm proud of you, that goes a long way, right? And so in anything I do, and it means the world, man, that you say that. Like you said, it's like whatever I touch turns to gold. It's a humbling feeling, but at the end of the day, that is all glory goes to God. I mean, it really does, because he blessed me with who I am, with that heart, with the anointing to be able to speak to somebody and they just want to listen, and you can turn their day around. So I believe that's why so many doors have been open. I mean, it wouldn't be possible without him. I mean, a no brainer there. I mean, that's just no doubt about that. All glory to him for sure. But I'm very blessed to that he made me that way, right? To be able to inspire, and that's what makes my heart happy. And like I said, with the depression thing, I was speaking on it. You're worthy, keep pushing. And I had never went through depression yet. And then I graduate, life starts to happen, and then depression happens to me, and it freaks me out because I don't know what is this feeling, right? But even in the midst of all of that, I went through that darkness. But in the midst of all of that, I would still inspire people. I would still encourage them. I would still laugh around. I'd still make them laugh, still make them smile, because that made me feel better, right? Like that is one thing I'm thankful for. And life does happen, man. People they get enter a dark place in their lives, and I was like, I'm down right now, but God gave me that heart and the gift to keep inspiring, keep motivating. So not every day is easy. Not every, and we're all going to have our ups and downs, but man, it takes a simple, hey, you're awesome, you're amazing, keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, it is. And I always tell people, if you're ever going through anything, man, feel free to reach out to me. I love it. I want to talk to people. Even I'll just be a lending, a listening ear for you. I'm not even, I won't even say anything. Some people just need to vent and talk. So I'm very grateful to have that heart, and I'm grateful that you mentioned that. That feels good to know that that's how you see it. Is anything I touch turns to gold. I mean, but that's all God for sure.
Sure. I think mental health is a big thing too. Just like you said, no matter what end, what side you're on, whether if you're the one venting or you're the one that's listening to the venting, it's regardless. They're both good sides, because in 2021, when I started this podcast, I may have said this on my podcast, but I'm not sure. But this started just because like I was in a zone. I was about to graduate from college, and I was like, man, I went through part of my life. I was like, oh man, I decided to go to counseling, blah, 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 all this different stuff I was going through. I was like, man, what's next? So like that next chapter, if that makes sense, after college. And I was like, man, and then this pretty much birthed this podcast. And I'm like, so when I started this podcast, I was like, I want this to be a fictional part in the podcast, if that makes sense. Like, how can I you said reading the Bible, going to counseling, doing blah, blah, blah. That's what helped me, but that's not necessarily may help others, like how can I give that information to help others too? So I've had friends on here who, like, I have a friend, Chelsea Rubio, who's been on a podcast for the people watching, who's going to college for, getting their higher education for counseling and helping people out. So like, I want that to be a thing too, where people can use resources to do that. That mental health, man, that's a big thing too. And just putting God first and doing what you can to help others and do what you can, man, in the process.
Absolutely. I agree there, man. I agree.
But one other thing too, like you talked about social media, like you kind of and stuff like that, like posting videos and stuff like that. Like, how does that help you? Like, how can I say this? How has the internet or social media helped you, like from music to anything else? Like, how has that helped you, if any?
It's definitely helped me tremendously. I mean, in what I do and with the marketing, marketing is important, and social media is important for sure. I mean, of course, it can be a bad thing, right? Like, posting on there, but I really have utilized it to market myself, and thought about, man, people, there's so much negativity on the social media. Why not post something good?
That's something I always
So
ahead.
that's definitely sorry, but that's definitely what's helped me. Sorry, I got my little dog over here trying to crawl through the cords. So trying to reroute them. It threw me off a little bit. But no, social media has definitely helped me, utilizing it for the good, right? Thinking of all the bad that people are paying attention to on there and all the negativity. Why not be positive, right? And it really has. It's helped my business. It's helped relationships, right? Like you meet somebody, and what I do with the marketing and the networking is, you meet somebody, you might not talk to them every day, but it's cool to see, kind of keep up with them on that, right? What they're doing, congratulate them on the highs of their lives, and if they're feeling low, and if they do post it on there, it's like, hey, I mean, I'm here for you. But it's definitely helped me tremendously with the music and with business. It's but like most importantly, the relationships that I've built through that as well.
Yes, sir. Like you said, it's a big, like, I think social media, like you said, like I always say, like, be a friend, tell a friend something nice, because like it really could change their life in a way. Because like this being like that one, like you said, we're gonna have our day like where we're just like something minor can happen or something, and we're like, oh man, this sucks, man. And then all of a sudden, like, our day feels like it's ruined. But if you just step back, like, just take a breathe, like, man, like, that's one moment, dude. That's five minutes from now and 5 years from now, that's not one of the things not gonna matter. So why not just focus on the good, be positive toward people. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
one thing, it may not mean nothing to you, but man, just say like, hey man, blah blah blah. Like, say something nice to somebody, be a friend, just be something nice to somebody. Like, it can make their day. Like, you don't know how many times like I've been like, oh man, this blah 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 sucks today, and then all of a sudden I get a voicemail or a text like, hey, blah blah blah, you remember blah blah blah? I'm like, oh yeah. And all of a sudden, like, it's just boom, your day could be switched. And I've been on both sides of it too. Where it's like, you could tell, just like, I don't know, just something you said, be a friend. Like, I don't know if you can see this sign behind me right here. It's like, be where your feet are. Because I remind myself every day, it's like, be where your feet are. Hey, you're here right now. Be a positive force wherever you are, man.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's great. I mean, I like to always say is living in the moment, right? And I mentioned that on one of the episodes of the old podcast. Living in the moment was something that my coach, my golf coach at Tascosa, taught me, and it was something that I just thought about. Like, we can't be focused on what's going to happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday. We can only focus on what's happening right in this moment, right? So what yesterday may have been a bad day. So let me make today better. And today might not be the best, but you know what? It's like with golf, we would use that to focus on your golf shots, right? Like, you hit it off the tee box, and you might shank it. And as you're walking to that golf ball, you're upset, you're pissed, you're like, I just, man, you're getting all stressed out about this, about that, but you're not focusing on that next shot, right? Like, that, once you get to that ball, like, that's the moment. And so using that in life, right? Be where your feet are. And that's what I get from that. Like, be in that moment, right? Don't worry about what's coming to like next. Don't worry about what happened before. What can you do to make this moment great? What can you do to live in this moment? In this moment, how many people can you impact, right? Yesterday probably sucked for us or whatever, but in this moment that we're in right now, this is where I'm at. Talking with you, having a great conversation. If I was with my fiance or anyone else in that moment, what can I do to make your day better, make you smile, and just love on you, right? So that's just really how I take that, for sure.
Yeah. You good thing too. Like, I didn't know you were Tascosa too, because I graduated from there in 2016. So it's pretty cool to see another rebel. I didn't know you graduated from there too, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, you graduated 2016?
Yes, sir.
I
I,
graduated 2015. So
heck yeah, so that's pretty cool. I was on the wrestling team, so I wasn't doing much golfing back then. So, well, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. If I'd done my research a little bit more, I probably would have known that.
You're
I
good,
mean,
man.
I'm the host. I should have known that. That's on me off. I'm
You're good.
so, yeah, that's pretty cool. So just, um, like you said, just like you said, be where your feet are. Just utilizing that, just keep you like, being that positive force, man. Just, but how's being like, kind of switch gears a little bit here. So like you said earlier, you said just being creative and doing different things, like being creative, I guess. How has that like helped you go from? Because I believe I saw a post the other day. If you want to talk about this, or if not, you're cool too. So you can change subjects. But um, so you're creating like commercials with something called, is it Quince Creative Marketing?
Yeah, so Quinch Creative Marketing and Business Boost Media, which is my business, we have partnered up. We're collaborating. Kathy Schick, been a great mentor of mine since I was, I'd say, 18, 19 years old. She's been a mentor of mine, very successful in what she does, but she's all about helping people and getting them started, right? So we talked, and and it's just a God thing, right? Open the door, and when he opened that door, it was a no brainer. So we have teamed up to where I started Business Boost Media about 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago, and um, I go and shoot short commercials for businesses to post on their social media to kind of help their social media presence, just boost it a little bit. So did that, and then of course I landed a job with Excel, great company. My time there has been amazing, but this door opened, right? Of course, I went to Excel, kind of did my business on the side. I
Yeah.
followed. I followed. Hey, look, there's. It's guaranteed. It's a security. I got bills to pay, and so I kind of try to juggle both, but put my business on the back burner. But the door opened again, and all of the knowledge I've gained from Excel and the doors that opened, the people I've met, um, God said, "Go for it, man," and He opened the door, and we've collaborated. We're going to be able to offer a lot more as far as the marketing side of not only just commercials, but websites, logos, just the whole package, man. We want to be able to go in there and really offer our clients quality content, being able to help them run their marketing, but for an affordable price, right? That's what we want to do. That's the approach we have. So far it's been going good, man. Just been meeting with clients, getting all set up, getting ready to rock and roll. So yeah, so that's been very awesome to the people I've met through everything that I've done. I feel like I've done a lot, and it's just I need to slow my roll. But in everything I've done, the relationships I've built, God opened that door, and it was amazing to see. Okay, I'm starting my own business, and everyone's like, "Bam, I need a video," or I'm proud of you. That's another one of those things that means a lot. I'm proud of you. It's really it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling in anything I do to have that support. So it's definitely helped a lot. So I'm excited for this journey. Like I said, Excel has been great. My time there has been great. But man, when God opens that door and He says to go, you got to go for it.
That's a big thing too. I think I've noticed too. It's like, man, there's been times I pray for something like, hey, Lord, is this something I need to do? And like, literally, it feels like almost instantaneously, almost it feels like, yep, like yeah, He opened the door for you. Like, hey, that's just sign. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of follow sometimes. Like, that there's good omens you need to follow, if that makes sense. And you just gotta follow them, man. Like, man, these are things that like are meant to be, and you just gotta chase them. And that's kind of how this podcast started, honestly. Like, it's like it's just something I wanted to do, like, and I've been doing it. I'm like, so heck yeah. So the fact that you're doing like making videos for clients and doing different things, you chase your dream, you're doing it, man. It's pretty cool to see because like this is so cool. Like I saw a post on Facebook about it. I believe it was Facebook the other day about it. Like this is so cool. You're out there doing you're doing your thing, man. Like you're being creative. So that's pretty cool. Just maybe one of these days you and I can make a video together. Maybe you can make a video for my podcast. Maybe one day. Who knows?
Man, let's rock and roll. Yeah, man. And of course I'm getting the me and my lovely fiance, man. Of course, I gotta shout her out, man. She's been so supportive and all these crazy decisions and all the crazy things I get involved in, man. So whenever wanted to take the step to go out on my own, she's been very supportive of that. She's been helping me set up the studio. She's been helping me, with everything. 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 She's in my office downtown. So we're gonna get that put together pretty soon. I'm hoping to have it done by this week, by the end of this week, and get the first episode launched next week. And of course, got to have you come on there, man. So
I'll be super excited to you, man. You said too, I've never been on the other side of the microphone, so to speak.
yeah,
I'm more than happy to come on and help out any way I can.
absolutely, man. It's all about just teaming up and building this relationship. So yeah,
Sweet.
once we get it put together. But yeah, like I said, I had to give a shout out to her. She's been, like I said, so supportive of all the crazy. Who knows what the next venture is? That's just how we're gonna live the rest of our lives.
Hey, man, seriously, so hey man, whatever the venture may be, as long as you have a village behind you supporting you, like helping you out, that's all that matters at the end, I believe. Just have a
Absolutely.
village behind you, because man, there's been times I've been doing a podcast and like I got to tell my family, like, hey, got a podcast today, and like, okay, cool, and then initially I think they're kind of maybe nervous about it, but now they're at the point like, hey, you've been doing it for a while now, go do it. Like, yeah, it's just part of the
Yeah.
process. So, kind of talk about podcasting. You are doing your podcast, and do you want to talk a little bit more about that, like how it came about and the name of it and all the fun stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I had the other podcast I was on there with Hustlers Horizon. Very great opportunity, man. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I had to go on there. Um, Pedro's going to keep doing it. He gave me that opportunity. He ran with it, and man, we had a lot of fun, a lot of great guests on there. But it's just one of those God things. There's seasons, right? And it was time to flip the page to a new chapter. Um, he's still going to be doing Hustlers Horizon podcast, and I know it's going to be great. But God led me to start my own podcast, which is going to be called The Honest Hour. On The Honest Hour, I want to give people a platform to basically do what you're doing. You're giving people a platform to really talk about life, right? Be vulnerable, man. I want to have some deep conversations. I mean, if I'm being honest, I want people to share their stories, give them that platform to shine a light on life, relationships, business, mental health. Especially mental health is going to be something we talk about a lot on there. And it's just going to be people from all different backgrounds, right? I know with the other podcast we brought in a lot of business owners. This one, yes, business owners, but I want everybody to be able to come on there. Everyone has a story. I want them to shine some light on it. And it's my opportunity. If they do come in there and they get kind of vulnerable or maybe start crying about some things, and it gets deep, again, it's my opportunity to give them the platform to shine a light on it, but to inspire them and to love them and to encourage them, right? Like that's just where it all leads to. In anything I do, it's all the vision's got to be bigger than you. And it definitely is. So I'm excited to bring you on there. Me and my fiance are going to be doing segments on relationships, where we're going to bring on other couples and talk relationships. And I'm sure it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, it's just going to be a really great podcast. And there's no limit. It's just the honest hour. Let's be honest with each other and talk about real life things, man.
Okay, that's so amazing to hear that. Just like I didn't want to interrupt you at all, because like just hearing like this, I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted to do in podcasting. Like I wish there was more of these podcasts, because like what you're doing, the way you're telling it, the way like how you're telling it, it's like, man, this is so amazing, because like I wanted to help, like just be able to, not just me, just in general, just having that platform for people to come on and just tell their journey. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be so niche, like just have it not be so specific to like just, yeah, I'm a sports fan. I wrestled, I do CrossFit, I love football. I'm a Cowboys fan. Even though they broke my heart, it feels like every week they like it's just like a 50-50 chance, and Dak's not
Yeah.
there. So it's like I could talk about just one, the Cowboys, or I could talk about just one thing. But man, I felt like for me, the way I want to talk about my podcast is just so limited to extent. Yeah, I could talk about like the Cowboys, like, oh yeah, the record is blah blah blah. Okay, what else?
Yeah.
Well, guess I want to be able
Whenever
to.
you whenever you mention the Cowboys, my fiance looked right at me because I'm going through what you're going through, brother. The heartbreak is real, man.
It's just like, man, it felt like just I literally at work the other day, and I looked at my phone, and the first thing I opened was like Ian Rappaport. Or was it Ian Rappaport? He's reporting that Dak's going to be out for several weeks. I'm like, Good God. So, I mean, God Almighty. I mean, it's Cooper Rush and hopefully Trey Lance can hopefully play some magic over here. Who knows, because
I won't get too deep into it because, when I give my opinion on things or my take, I get in trouble for it. But listen, I've been a Cowboys fan all my life. I went through the heartbreak for long enough, so I deserve to give my take on it. I'm not really worried about Cooper Rush. I think he can win us some ball games for sure. So that's all I'll say on that. Hopefully Dak is fine and will be back sooner. But I really believe Cooper Rush will win us some games.
I think so too, man. Whenever Dak, got hurt a while back with his leg injury, I believe when Cooper came in, dude, he balled out. He's
5-1, man. 5-1 as a starter.
And that's crazy to think that too as a backup. I mean, that's what you want out of a backup, right? Is to have some productivity, and that's what he went above and beyond and do what he did. 5-1, and man, he's got Zeke now and he's got all this. Granted, I don't know if it's the same Zeke as 2016 or nothing like that. I don't want to say that. Like I said, I don't want to say myself in trouble, but who knows?
That's exactly how I am. I'll get in trouble for saying whatever, but we've gone through the heartbreak just as long, man. So we can give our take. We can be honest on the honest hour. Just know that that's coming.
Oh yeah,
the honest hour. We'll have a segment on there where we'll talk some Cowboys football, and it's called the honest hour. No one can get offended.
Well, if you're a Cowboys fan or whatever, just be prepared because the Tony Romo days, man. The early Tony Romo days when he took over Drew Bledsoe. So I've been through it.
Yeah, for sure.
I bet there's Cowboys fans like Tony Romo, Drew Bledsoe. Who are these guys? So and I literally texted my brother and my dad that the other day because we have a group chat with them. I'm like, dude, how much is it going to cost for Tony Romo to get out of the booth and come play for us again? Like, please. Please make a offer. Please come out and just
please. Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you, man.
A half season deal for a couple $500, $600,000, man. But have Tony come back out. Come for 1 year, half a year. Come out.
Yeah. Let's all start a GoFundMe. Let's see if we can make it happen.
That's what I love about podcasting right here, man. It's like moments like this where it's like, that's what I wanted to talk about, man. Stuff like that. So for you, obviously you're figuring stuff out for the podcast, like you're setting up and do all the fun stuff that comes with it. Like obviously you're doing so many great things. Like have you decided when you're going to be posting, or is that even crossed your mind at all?
For the podcast?
Yeah. Do you know when you're going to be dropping it all or no?
Yeah. So I got all the software, everything set up. Just getting some things figured out. I mean, I have all the equipment. So I'm hoping to drop the first episode next week. The first episode is probably just going to be a short one of me introducing myself, talking about what to expect on the podcast, and then get some guests lined up. I have some people already just ready to come on and have some great conversation, man. So next week I'm shooting for it. I'm hoping it works out that way. Of course, going to be doing that along with my business. So the scheduling and figuring all that out, but they'll be available. The episodes will be available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast platforms. And then of course I'll be doing the same thing on YouTube, releasing the videos from in studio. But I want people to have that and have access if they're in their cars and they're on the road. Don't watch YouTube. Just listen to the audio. Stay safe out there.
That's what I started doing too. That's a good idea. I was about to ask you where I can find it, and then you said all that. I'm like, at the same time, it's that's why I started doing Spotify at the same time because, man, just listen. Be safe out there, guys. My podcast is not as important. Your life is more important. So just stay driving. Just be safe on the road out there if you're listening to podcasts.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, be safe. But I think it'll be great to get episodes together that have so much great insight and so much depth and emotions and all these things that people are going through, because I want people to hear other people's journeys and stories, and the hopes that it inspires people. And I want somebody that's going through what one of those guests may be going that they went through, and then they hear and they find out what they did or how they got out of that rut, or they get the hope and they understand that there is light at the end of that all, right? And just shining light on it, man. But the honest hour I thought was going to be great. to say, hey, this is we're going to be honest, we're going to be real, and we're going to get deep, and there's no filter. I mean, there's not that we're going to talk crazy and do crazy things on there, but no filter. I want people to be themselves. Absolutely.
That's so cool, man. That's cool. Like to hear that, like you said, no filter, just be you. Just like you said, be you, but also like you said, don't be crazy. But like at the same time, it's like be who you can be, kind of thing. You know, like be you, like be where your feet are. You know.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Sure. Hey, before we get out of here, we've been going for almost an hour. It feels like, if not close to it. We could talk on and on. It feels like, but kind of the last couple of things before I head out. Like, is there anything like it kind of put you on the spot the next couple questions? So I hope you're ready.
That's okay.
Like I haven't been putting you on the spot this whole podcast, but like, what do you hope? Like, let's say it's 20, 30 years from now, and you're still maybe doing your thing. Maybe you're about to hang it up, or you're retired already, watching Cowboys. You know, hopefully they're winning another Super Bowl by then. Hopefully, next couple
I
decades.
hope so.
So, like, what do you hope to like people like remember you as at the end of the day? Big question, loaded question.
I mean, at the end of the day, I want people to not necessarily remember what I've done, right? As far as, I don't want to be remembered for music. I don't want to be remembered for having a great podcast. I don't want to be remembered for um, anything that I've done. You know, whether it's great commercials, but I don't want to be remembered for any of that. I want to be remembered for my heart, right? I want to be remembered for the way I made someone feel, the impact that I made by a simple conversation, right? Like, I don't want to get caught up in being remembered as, oh, he was a great singer, he was this, he was that, he was great at making videos, he was a great business owner, he was very successful. I don't want to be remembered for that. I simply want to be remembered for my heart, for the impact that I made. I want to be remembered for those moments where someone was feeling dark, in a dark place, and I brought them out of it, right? Just like you said earlier, and that meant the world to me, man. It really did. When you said anything you touch, you feel like it turns to gold. So humbling, made my heart really happy. Honestly, made my night that you said that. That's what I want to be remembered for. I want to be remembered as, it didn't matter who he talked to, whoever I came across, their lives were a little better, and there was a little more light in their life. So that's definitely, whenever I'm gone, I just want to be remembered for that. The simple, my heart, and the way I loved people. So,
Well, that's a great answer. And Derek, I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast, dude. It feels like we talked for, like I said, forever and ever, man. And keep touching everything, because you're going to be touching, like, everything's going to be gold one of these days, man. You're going to be, the whole world's going to be.
I appreciate that, man.
So so kind of before I head out, one last question. I want to start asking people is, music, whether it's music, creativity, marketing, or podcasting, whatever, just whatever it may be. What advice do you want to like give people who may be listening to this, who you said may be in a rut, may not be, just are seeking advice in general? What advice would you give them in any field?
Absolutely. The advice I would give them is, if there's something that is on your mind, or a passion you have, right? We can sit there day after day and say, man, like, I really wish I could do this, and I really wish I could do this. Just do it, right? Believe in yourself. Don't stop. You're going to fail. I mean, I tell that to people. People fear failure, but failure is necessary. Like, you are going to fail. You're going to fall on your butt. You're going to have plenty of trials and tribulations, but go for it. And as long as you believe in yourself, right? If you believe in yourself and you be your biggest fan, and you could be your worst critic too, but be your biggest fan and believe in yourself, and put God first always. In anything you do, God comes first. And anything I do, all glory goes to God. So the advice I would give somebody is, do you believe in yourself? Because, hey, then you're already winning. Go for it. God, when he opens those doors and you feel it in your heart, I mean, it's going to be scary. It's not going to be perfect, but go for it. Stay strong, keep pushing. And I mean, I just know that we're going to see a lot of successful people, and I hope that I can impact others to follow their dreams and go for it. It's scary, but it's a good scary, and it's going to be worth it. So that's the advice I'd give you. If you have a passion, you have a dream, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you're already halfway there, and make the move. Legwork is the best work. You're not going to see results right away, but it's going to be worth it as long as you just keep going with it.
Sir, that's perfect advice, man. So thank you. Really, thank you for sharing that. I mean, if you do it right, if you do it right, failure, I think, can breed success. Like ultimately, believe. Like he said, just believing is like it's only the halfway point. If you want to put the work in, then man, if you believe in something, just go do it. Like not like a few years ago, I literally when I started this podcast, I wrote down on the sticky note I have hung up still. It's like I want to be the best storyteller in podcasting, no matter what your motivational drive is. I think just to put a one last thing in it is like, man, if you just believe in it, just I say ink it before you think it. Just write whatever it is whatever it is that pop up with your head. Just write it down. Just look at it. Just man, like hard work will pay off ultimately. Hopefully 10. So Derek, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. Thank you for sharing your advice and just your motivation, man. I can't wait for the first episode of the Honest Hour, dude. Like I'll be subscribing, doing all the fun stuff. So
hey man, I appreciate it. Well, same goes to you, Carter. I appreciate you having me on, but I appreciate what you do for others and the stories that you've told and that you're going to continue to tell. You got a heart of gold, man. And you have that same gift. Anything you touch is going to turn into gold. Anyone it comes across your path, you bring some more light into their life. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I was an honor being on your podcast today. I can't wait to have you on mine.
Oh, thanks, man. It's an honor for you to come on. I can't wait to one day be on yours, man. I love to be on the other side of the mic for once and just hopefully
absolutely
hopefully set the mind.
Make it happen. Yeah, we'll make it happen, man.
Thank you again for Derek for coming on, and thank you to everybody listening and watching, wherever you may be, and just keep doing you, man. Just be what you feel, and hard work will pay off. So thank you, everybody. See y'all.
See ya.